Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
It's a great day. I'm Mark Imperial. For the past 7 years, I've scoured the globe looking for noteworthy experts, businesses, people, places, and things. On this special edition of the show, we'll meet some of the world's leading professionals in health, nutrition, and fitness, people from all across the country, around the world, and in your town. Of course, we're in the middle of our very special edition of health, fitness, and nutrition. And my next guest is Daniel Pollaccia from Victorville, California. He's the founder of Mastermind Martial Arts and Fitness, and we're happy to have him on the program. Daniel, welcome.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
I'm great. Thanks for coming on the show today. So, Daniel, tell us a little bit about Mastermind Martial Arts and Fitness and exactly the type of clients that you serve.
I opened Mastermind Martial Arts and Fitness last summer, and I've been in business since then. I serve anyone who wants to train with me, wants to learn from me, anyone who I can help enrich their life in some way, make it better. So
is it primarily focused on martial arts to begin with, or are there other aspects of fitness that you include in your programs?
Well, it's all kind of one and the same, in my opinion. Because, if you look at kickboxers, boxers, guys that fight in the UFC, they're all, for the most part, in pretty amazing shape, and there's a level of fitness that just goes with training in those arts, and I also offer and train people in fitness, personal training, weightlifting, stuff like that, nutrition programs. But to me, it all kind of goes hand in hand. So, if someone comes in looking to kickbox with me, they're still, if they're doing what they should do with their diet and stuff, they're still going to get in pretty good shape just punching and kicking, because movement, the kinesiology of the body is just, what's going to get it in shape, constant movement and not being sedentary. So I think it all works well with each other.
What's the mix in your membership between newcomers to the sport and advanced folks? Who do you attract a lot of?
Mostly newcomers. As a business owner, they're your lifeline, But I've had a couple people come in that, trained at other gyms that are here now. I love to have them, but the majority of my membership, the majority of what pays the bills are people that, saw my ads or through word of mouth and that don't know anything yet, and those are the people that tend to, come in the most.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that. So, for example, a newcomer to martial arts, it could be quite intimidating. What do you find, are they fearful when they first come to see you, or what is any apprehension? Tell me what they're like, the people that come to see you.
Yeah, everyone's different. Some people, watch the UFC on TV and they want to do that. And some people just are, maybe, had an issue in their life where they were feared for their safety. Everyone comes in. I try to make everyone feel, welcome, and it's a warm environment. No tough guy attitudes are in here. I won't let that happen. Ego is something that I think we all have in minuscule amounts anyway, but nothing too, it's going to scare people away, because, I know what it's like to be that new guy walking through the door, and you don't want people feeling like uneasy and, oh man, I don't want to train here.
Yes.
So I just try to.
Speaking of the uneasiness, what are the most common fears that you've found that people have about coming into a martial arts facility like yours?
If they get, a lot of people, they have the fear of getting hurt because, it is combative. That's the first thing. And then, sometimes it's just with beginners, but they tend to lack technique because, they don't know anything yet. It's not that they're bad, but when you know two techniques, and you're training with someone who knows 50 techniques, that's been training for a few years, the propensity for injury on the new person can be high because, they tend to use, there's a lack of control there. It's not that they're doing it on purpose because they don't know anything yet. So that uneasiness, I think I hurt myself. And it could be just because they're trying too hard, and then they don't want to come back. They're afraid of getting hurt, but it's really, they're not getting hurt. They're just, not, the technique isn't there yet, but that all comes in time.
So curious. You mentioned earlier that people find you in your ads. And switching to the business side of the topic really quickly, how do people find you? Are you advertising regularly, or where do you find the most success in attracting new members?
Most success I've had, believe it or not, I have sign holders that'll come in 2 to 3 days a week. I'm in a pretty busy business complex where there's quite a few number of businesses, and I have someone stand out on the corner with a sign. I've actually gotten quite a few signups off that, probably more than anything else, more than a website or, the social media. I'm always posting on, my Facebook page for the business and my Instagram page, but I actually get quite a bit of foot traffic, and I've actually gotten signups just off having a sign holder because people see it and then they come in and check it out.
Wow, that's really encouraging to hear. Good old grassroots marketing. It might sound old school, but hey, it's effective.
Yeah, I mean, when people walk through my door, I always ask them, "Hey, how did you hear about me?" And that's always, "Oh, I saw your sign holder." So that's, I pay the sign holder, of course, so it's not free, but it's definitely cheaper than, the internet stuff I was doing. It's been more effective thus far.
Right on. So tell me, what are some of the, let's say a new member comes in and joins. What are some of the little known pitfalls or common mistakes that you might see people make that might sabotage their success at excelling in martial arts and in fitness?
Again, trying too hard. I mean, like I say, ego plays a role. You see it at least with men more than women, but with the fitness side, okay, I benched 200 this week. Let's go for 220 this week, and people always want to just do more and more and more to see that progress, because we want to know we're progressing, that we're not standing still. And sometimes, if I have a client who benched 200 last week and he wants to go up this week, I'll be like, no, just do 200 again, but do it for more sets and more reps, because in essence, you're doing more work, but we're going with a weight that you can handle. Because you see some people try too hard, they try to progress too fast, and it can sabotage you. And the same in martial arts, guys, I teach them a technique and they overanalyze it, and they're trying too hard to do it. And in trying too hard, you're actually, despite the enthusiasm for learning it and wanting to succeed, the being over enthusiastic, I should say, can actually sabotage you. Wanting to do too much too soon. I mean, progress is still progress, even if it's an inch at a time. If
somebody finds himself in that trap, what do you suggest? What do you tell them to do to help them back off of over trying?
I mean, pretty much what I just told you, and it's up to them to listen. People, like I say, with people are all stubborn. We all kind of have our own set ways that we like to do things and patterns that we're used to. I mean, people be like, "Man, I feel like I'm not getting any better," and I'm like, "Okay, man, relax more. You can't go out there. You can't treat, training in here, at least on the martial arts end, like it's a competition, because a competition, it's a competition. You're there for one reason. And here it's not like that. If I lose in training, we shake hands, we go again. It's not over." And I just tell people, relax, man. I use the name mastermind because I'm very analytical, and I look at people and I'm like, okay, this is where, I think you're messing up. Relax more. Don't force it so much. And, usually it helps, but it's up to them to listen, because if people don't think what they're doing is wrong, then they're not going to listen. But I take my years of experience over a decade now, and I just, this is what I see, and this is where I think that you're deficient or we can help you.
You've been doing this a long time, so give me a sneak peek at your progression. Take us back to what initially inspired you to get into fitness and martial arts in general.
Well, with martial arts, I just, like everyone else, watched Chuck Norris and stuff growing up. I always thought it was cool. I always wanted to do it. And when I finally got into it, I realized that it's nothing like what you see on TV, and it takes a lot of hard work to look like that, to do what they do, and it's choreographed and stuff. And I bounced around in quite a few different gyms and different arts and different styles until I kind of found what I liked, which is, like the kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then, I started, I got kind of obsessive when it comes to that. I kind of started really liking it, so I kind of started doing it all the time and studying it and reading about it. And then when YouTube came about, I was watching videos. On the fitness side, I didn't want to work a real job, and I had saved up money from jobs I had, and got a certification and then started training people. There's a lot of hills and valleys in that business. January I'll be really busy again, but I was 330 pounds at one point myself, so I know what it's like to have been there and want to lose weight. And now I'm around 235, 240, in good shape. So I have experience with that. When people walk in here and they're out of shape, I know what it's like. I've been there. A lot of trainers haven't, not that they're bad trainers, but I know the mindset of being miserable and want to lose weight and you don't know where to start. And me, I just started reading and studying, and that led me to where I am now.
You mentioned a number of programs there. Could you give us a snapshot of all your offerings there at Mastermind Martial Arts and Fitness? What kind of programs do you have?
Of course. Yeah, I have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing, 5 days a week, morning and night classes, and then kids classes. Again, kids kickboxing, kids jiu-jitsu. I have those a couple days a week on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then personal training I do by appointment because there's a lot of open time slots, between my classes. So if people want to personal train with me, they usually contact me and we can schedule a time.
How does it work with do people customize their programs with you, or do they have to choose one path or the other? How does that work?
Oh no, I mean I'm open for people that want to train. I mean, usually it depends. I ask people what they're looking for. I'm very specific because the more details I have about what you're looking for, the easier it is to kind of customize it to you. If someone's looking to, get a lot stronger, I might put them on a powerlifting template and focus on the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. If someone's looking just to, lose weight, I might focus more on cardiovascular stuff with a little bit of weightlifting and more body weight stuff. And, I just find out where they're at now. I have a fitness assessment that I put people through, at least on the fitness end. With the kickboxing and the jiu-jitsu end, I have free trial classes that anyone can come and take. And then, when they, the first class is free, and then they take it, and, it's up to them if they like it, obviously.
That's excellent. So tell me, Daniel, for our listeners, if they're near Victorville by you in California, or if anyone just wants to, learn more about you or get more information and perhaps connect with you, how can they do that?
You can hit me up through my Instagram page, Instagram.com/Mastermind Martial Arts. Same thing on my Facebook page. Just type in Mastermind Martial Arts and Fitness. I'll pop up. Or you can contact me at my personal phone number, 760-617-3016. If I don't answer their calls, usually because I'm teaching a class or training someone, but I always return my calls and texts. So I'd love to have anyone that wants to stop by to check it out. I'd love to have them.
I know you're super busy, Daniel, but I appreciate you taking the time to come on the program today, and I wish you continued success for you and all of your clients and members there at Mastermind Martial Arts and Fitness.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. It was my pleasure.
We're in the middle of our special edition for health, fitness, and nutrition. My next guest is the Director of Education for EFTI, which is Equinox Fitness Training Institute, based out of Los Angeles, California. Matthew, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be on the show.
So, Matthew, I understand that Director of Education, you're also a personal trainer, right? So tell me a little bit about your type of work and the clients that you serve.
Sure. So first, as the Director of Education, basically my responsibility or my role is to lead the content, lead the education that we provide to our trainers company-wide throughout all of the Equinox clubs. So that way we can provide the best level of service to the clients in each of those clubs. So really the primary role of EFTI and the main mission is to provide the highest level of education, highest level of knowledge to our teams, so that way that can be translated to the work they do every day with their clients and with the members that come to our clubs. Beyond that, I've worked as a personal trainer for going on 17 years now, I guess, which when you say it that way, it seems like it's been for a while now.
Yeah.
But I've been working with a wide variety of clients. So anywhere from, starting out at a sports training facility, because I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri, so that was one of the best places to work there. And then progressing to Equinox, where we work with everybody that you can think of, from standard office employees, people that are attorneys, businessmen, everybody to moms, dads. It's just anybody that comes in that needs to as we call it, live a high performance lifestyle, because they want to, get the most out of their day, get the most out of their lives. That's essentially who I've had the privilege of serving for, with Equinox now over 12 years.
Tell me, what do you see as the biggest challenge or the most common challenge you find your clients facing when they first join?
I think the biggest challenge is kind of they want to do. Sometimes they want to do a little too much, and so it doesn't seem like that would be a challenge. But basically, a lot of times when people join the clubs, they really have this grand vision of coming in 5 days, 6 days a week, completely changing how they eat, really overhauling their lives. And as a trainer, you absolutely don't want to derail that motivation. You really want to keep them going because that's great. They're excited for the change. But you also realize that, if somebody tries to change everything all at once, oftentimes the chances for success are pretty limited. One of the things we look to do is, really keep that motivation going, but focus their efforts into one direction. So, if they're coming in, they just joined the club, and they haven't worked out in a while, maybe that's the primary focus for them versus really going all in on nutrition as well as training. So I think one of the biggest challenges is really helping channel that motivation they have and really putting it in the right direction and making sure they are successful so they can build on top of that.
Is that because you find that when they come in gung-ho and on fire, is that unsustainable, or do you feel like they burn out quickly if they do that?
In short, that's a big part of it. So the unsustainable part is that they're eventually going to run into challenges, and really they're coming from a life that they've lived for years. They're coming from a place where they've had habits set up where they're really in the routine, and now to try to change everything within that routine, it really just overloads the system. To the burnout part, the body just has so much resources to make changes and to do something different, and it just won't be able to keep up with it. And so when they do try to change everything, it's basically by the end of the day they're fried from all the decisions they've had to make, and now they're going to start defaulting back to what comes easy and what comes naturally, and that's where maybe the previous quote unquote bad habits would come into play. And so that's where, again, that's why we want to have them just focus on, honestly, when they come in, we ask them to just focus on one thing. We want them to be, kind of follow the mindset of success begets success. So, if they pick one thing that they can work on, that and just completely, hammer that, own it, make sure they got that one habit, then they can build on top of that. And, it allows them to, if they want to do more, awesome, but only be held accountable to that one thing. So that way, if everything else doesn't work, but they get that, at least they know they were successful there.
I'm going to take a step back a little bit and, not assume that my listeners know everything about personal training. Could you talk a little bit about the role, exactly what a personal trainer will help someone with, and maybe address a couple of myths or misconceptions that people might have about personal trainers and personal training?
Sure. A lot of the role that the personal trainer will play is really dependent upon the needs of the client and then the background of the trainer. So I'll start with the background of the trainer because that, for any professional in the fitness industry, as a trainer, you really want to stay within your scope and really where your training is so you can provide the best service. So more often than not, the standard role of a trainer is to provide, targeted programming or individualized programming to a client when they come in to start a fitness routine or start a training program. So that means putting together a thought out approach to what the workout should be, how it should progress over time, and really what needs and goals the client has. So that way, not only do they get to, if the client's goal is to say lose weight or get stronger, not only do they reach those goals, which that will always remain the primary target, but they want to design a program where kind of everything else along with it. So how they move, how they feel elevates in the process. So that's one aspect, and probably the most common aspect that a trainer will satisfy. But as they progress in their career, many trainers get education in nutrition and really go down the path of being able to help coach healthy nutrition habits. The reason I put it that way of being able to help coach healthy nutrition habits and not work with them on a nutrition plan or give them a meal plan is there's a difference between a personal trainer and, say, a dietitian or a nutritionist. Those individuals that fall into those camps, they've gone to years of schooling, have licensure to work on nutrition, and can really deal with a very specific need of the client when it comes to what they eat and how they eat, and giving them meal plans. But what a trainer, again, provided they have the education to back it, what a trainer is absolutely able to do is work with that client to help them set healthy eating habits, which is really where kind of the rubber meets the road. And kind of looking at what they do on a day-to-day basis and saying where are some of the kind of challenges that they're running into. So are they not drinking enough water? The trainer will basically, see if that's an important aspect for the client's goal and something that the client feels that they can change, and then help coach that client to really make that change or add, in this specific case, water to their daily routine. So those, again, the role of the trainer can be fairly flexible, but the majority of the time it really is focused on, providing a quality movement-based program, and then, provided their education's there, providing some nutrition coaching. One of the, I guess, probably one of the biggest misconceptions, or one of the things that will often happen when somebody comes into the club and wants to work with a trainer, is to understand that a trainer is not there to, I guess the best way to put it is solve all problems. Number one, they're not there to kind of solve your motivation problem, even though they can help. Absolutely, they want to inspire you. They want to help create that accountability, so you have to be there to come into the club. They're not there to essentially be your cheerleader. They want to be your biggest advocate, and they want to support you through the process. But they don't want to. A trainer's not there to kind of always be that rah person, which I think a lot of people see a trainer, because most of us are former athletes. We grew up in an athletic environment, and so we have this very energetic drive to want to help people. But we also want to make sure that the clients come in and they're providing or finding their own intrinsic motivation, because that's going to create that long-term desire to change. And then beyond that, I think something, and this is more specific, sometimes people come to trainers as a means to address injury or address orthopedic issues. And there are the trainer plays a very vital role in that rehab process, but they're not the physical therapist, or they're not the medical professional in that environment or in that relationship. So they would want to work with that medical professional and build that team for the client, so that way if there is an injury, they get back on track as quickly as possible. And again, the trainer plays a vital role in that, because they can ensure they're when they train and when they move, they're doing so in a healthy and kind of non-injurious manner, and then they can work to support what's being done outside of the club.
I see. So Matthew, how did you personally get? You're very knowledgeable and obviously passionate about this, and as you must have been a former athlete, as you mentioned. How did you get personally motivated and inspired to become a fitness professional?
Well, I guess where it started is I actually, oddly enough, started lifting weights when I think if I go back and try to pinpoint the actual time frame, when I was around 10, maybe 11 years old. I'm the youngest of four boys, and my older brothers basically one day essentially threatened me into either starting to lift weights, or basically they would do what older brothers do and make my life a little interesting from day to day. But that was it. That was the start of the process. I fell in love with lifting throughout high school, and then into college. That's where my passion was, along with all the sports I would play. And so going into college, I went to the University of Missouri. I got my degree in nutritional sciences with an emphasis in exercise physiology. And I honestly, in St. Louis, there really wasn't a huge, at least at that time, a huge training focused mindset or training as a career mindset, essentially. But I knew that's where my passion was and what I wanted to do. So got my degree there, had the intention of always wanting to be a trainer, and basically just dove headfirst and started working at various facilities in St. Louis. And then luckily enough, made my way out to Los Angeles and started working with Equinox 12 years ago, and just built my way up from there. The benefit of, why I call it luckily enough, the benefit of working for Equinox as a trainer is, and now I actually get the benefit of guiding that process, is our focus on education. That's why, it's rare to see a trainer stay with a company for that long. And, it's because I want to be the best for my clients. Now I get to help our trainers be the best for their clients. But that's through kind of development and really, using education to continually drive that passion for what we do. I have a colleague that I like to quote, and he basically says there's no staying the same, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. And, within the training industry, that's a vital quote, because you want to make sure you're always, getting better at what you do, getting more knowledgeable. So that way, when you're working with your clients, you can really just, knock it out of the park for them. You can really make sure you're giving them the best service. They're, everything they need is taken care of, or you can get them with the right person that can help in that process.
So for our listeners who'd like to learn more about Equinox and learn about you and possibly connect with you, how could they do that?
Mm-hmm. So for Equinox, one of the best places to go, and I know a lot of people that put the site together, and so it's a shameless plug for our website, but just go to equinox.com, and you'll be able to kind of learn about the company, but also see where we have all of our clubs. We're international, so we're in most of the major markets in the United States, but we're also in Toronto and London, and just about to open up Vancouver. And then for myself, I'm one of the rare fitness professionals or people in the fitness industry that actually don't have a website. So if anybody wants to get a hold of me or has questions, I'm always open to basically responding to emails. So they can just reach me at matt.berenc@equinox.com, and I'll respond to them as quick as I can. Except for maybe this next week when I'm out of town, I get to take my one vacation for the year. So I may be a little delayed there, but outside of that, anybody can email me, and I'll be happy to connect.
Enjoy that vacation, by the way. So
thank you.
Matthew, thank you so much. This has been terrific. I appreciate you taking the time coming on the program today, and I wish you continued success in your career and for all your clients there at Equinox Fitness Training Institute.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you for having me. It was great talking to you this morning.
We're in the middle of our special edition here on the show where we're focusing on health, nutrition, and fitness. And my next guest is Troy Ismir, the founder of Phil 413 Fitness and the Divine Wellness Academy. Troy, welcome to the program.
Well, it's great to be here, Mark. I'm privileged to be able to talk with you and your guests and other listeners today.
So tell our listeners exactly what is Phil 413 Fitness and Divine Wellness Academy.
Yeah, it's a faith-based fitness ministry, and it's something that I started about 4 years ago. And if you're wondering what Phil 413 Fitness stands for, it's actually after my favorite scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And the Divine Wellness Academy is actually a 10-week transformational course that helps people discover the connection between their physical and spiritual health. So it's taking another look at health and how can we look more at the spiritual side of things to help us become more physically fit, because there's definitely a connection both directions. The physical health has a direct correlation to our spiritual health and vice versa. Our spiritual health has a connection to our physical health. So that's what Phil 413 Fitness and the Divine Wellness Academy is really based upon.
So Troy, specifically, are these physical locations or do you work with people online? Tell me about that.
Yeah, I do work in my local community here in Orlando, Florida, specifically through my church in East Orlando. But I also have an online presence that I can work with anybody in the world. Isn't that the great thing about today's modern technology? So I have 2 programs. I have the 10-week Divine Wellness Academy course, which is soon going to be an online course, which is going to be available in the next month or so. So people can sign up for that and go through a 10-week course that's going to be all video-based. And then I have a 1-year holistic Divine Wellness body transformation system that takes people through just habit-based strategies that are very simple, and they can work into the real world. And I think we've made nutrition way too complicated. So I'm a big believer in really making things simple and making it habit-based. So those are my 2 main programs that can be purchased online.
Troy, who are you most popular with? Tell me more about the clients that you serve and, how they find you and what they're mostly looking for.
Yeah, well, this program has been designed to work with both men and women and really looking to help them become stronger in mind, body, and spirit so they can have more energy, optimal health, and a fit body. So I work in particular with somebody who's really struggling with their health. So first of all, energy. We all want more energy, right? So somebody who's struggling with energy levels, just the stamina to get through the day, they're really struggling with that. So that certainly is somebody that I know I can help. And somebody who's kind of lost their way with their health. And we know the statistics, and I'm not a big statistic guy, but we know that 3 out of people are overweight, 4 out of 10 are obese. I want to help people not only become more physically fit, but become more spiritually fit, and also mental training as well. And I think that is a big component that's left out of these programs. And the best part of this is not a diet. This is a sustainable lifestyle performance program. And then ultimately, I want people to be fit and healthy so they can live the best life that God created them to live. So really somebody who's struggling with their health and want to get back to an optimal level of health.
So you work with a wide variety of clients. What would you say, would be some of the biggest myths or misconceptions that folks might come in with before they start their fitness?
Yeah, there's so many misconceptions out there, and that's really my job is to break it down and keep it simple. But I think number one is nutrition. I think people are overwhelmed, and I think when people think about losing weight, they think about restriction. And that's the last thing that I want people to think about is restriction. I want them to start to think about better choices, not perfect choices, but better choices, and starting to implement these simple strategies that we can do anywhere. I mean, we've gotten to the point where we're over-consuming food. So just something as simple as eating to your 80% full, something as simple as just slowing down when you're eating. Oftentimes people will run through the drive-through, they'll snarf down food, and they don't take the time just to enjoy a meal and slow down. So that's number one, just simple nutrition strategies that can make a big difference. Number two is that it takes a lot of time to be healthy and to exercise. That's not the case. If you can carve out 20 to 30 minutes, I think most days of the week, I think we need to build some consistency with purposeful movement is really important. And then I think that probably the biggest thing is people just jump into a program. We know January 1st is coming around the corner, and they make these New Year's resolutions. I think the biggest thing that people don't do is they don't have a big enough why. They don't have a big enough reason to overcome the challenges that they face. And usually when we're stressed out or we're tired, we start making choices that aren't in the best interest of their health. So I think spending time on our mind and changing our mind is huge. So I'm a big proponent in change psychology. So I think people think this is going to be easy. Oh yeah, I made up my mind. I'm going to make these changes and it's going to run smoothly from here on out. But that's not the case. So those are kind of the big, I think, misperception.
There's a lot of confusion also in the type of programs because you see so much on television. Hey, strength training is the best workout. HIIT training is the best workout. You know, what have you found is actually the most effective workout?
Well, this is going to sound very simplistic, and I'm going to state the obvious here. But the best workout is the one that you're going to do and enjoy consistently. I mean, of course, I think a combination of all those things are very important. I think strength training is very vital to having a good body composition and staying strong and functional. And I think strength training is the closest thing that we have to the fountain of youth. So I'm a big proponent of strength training. But if you hate strength training, you're not going to do it. So I think it's just like a simple body weight exercises are very effective. I do believe in high intensity interval training according to the level of the person that's doing it. And they've shown that 4 minutes of a high intensity interval training can be very, very effective in improving cardiovascular fitness and reducing body fat. So I believe in efficiency and effectiveness. So, and it's a combination, and it's eating really good, nutritious foods. So there's no magic bullet. I know people want to hear that, but it's really a combination of everything. And then I'm going to throw another component in here that we don't often talk about because I am a faith-based fitness and lifestyle performance coach, the spiritual aspect. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes we try to do these things on our own, under our own power. And that's where really focusing on the spiritual side can help us, because oftentimes people are eating for reasons other than hunger. They're depressed, they're anxious, they're sad. And until we get to the root cause of the problem, this is going to be a continual cycle. So focusing on the spiritual aspect and really getting back to, doing things because it's in the best interest of our health and that we love ourselves and we love our bodies. So let's treat our body as, the temple of the Holy Spirit that it is. So as a faith-based fitness and lifestyle performance coach, I think that's a huge missing component in this day and age of getting healthier.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, after all, if there is no why, there's no motivation.
Right. And it's not easy. I mean, making changes, we've all done it. We've all tried in certain areas of our life. It's not easy. And the number one reason that people make lasting lifestyle changes is because they have support and accountability. Most people know what to do. We know we need to eat fruits and vegetables. We know we need to move. We know we need to get sleep. We know we need to manage stress. Those are all the components of living a healthy lifestyle. But having both personal support from loved ones, friends, other like-minded people that are trying to get healthy, and then also having the professional support, such as myself, that really supports and encourages people to make these changes. So I think that's a really key component of making changes that are going to last. Anybody can make short-term changes, but the key is, are you going to be doing this in 6 months, a year, 5 years, and 10 years? Because this truly does need to be a lifestyle if we are going to live the best life that we're meant to live. And that's a life of peace, joy, happiness, energy, and just living a life that we have optimal health and wellness.
Troy, what inspired you? How did you get started as a fitness professional?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of goes back a long ways, but I mean, I've always been into sports and athlete. I played football in college, and I actually blew out my knee. I had a major knee injury, and I was devastated. My identity was as a football player, and I was lost. So once I lost that identity, I transitioned into just throwing myself into strength training. I did some bodybuilding. I did a competition. And I was still very much about the body. And that went through a long period of my life. There wasn't a spiritual component to that. And then a tragedy hit and a divorce. And it was something I didn't ever think that would happen to me. But after 18 years of marriage and just 2 amazing, beautiful children, my marriage came to an end. And I never thought that would happen. And it's, we have those times in our lives where we dropped to our knees. And I'm like, I can't get through this on my own. All the physical training was great, but wouldn't get me through what I was going through. And that's when the spiritual component, the spiritual training became such a big part of my life. And through this pain, through the heartache, the pain, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a difference in this world. I'm going to use my pain to make a difference in other people's lives. And through my passions of fitness and now my faith, drawing people closer to God, because that's really what it's all about, is having a personal relationship with God, but using fitness to bring people to God, using fitness to making them the best that they can be. I was able to take these two passions and really now start to make an impact in people's lives so they can live a life of health and happiness. And there's a lot of depression, and we look at the way the world is today. And I want to give people hope. I want to give people encouragement. I want people to be inspired to be healthy in mind, body, and spirit.
How can our listeners, if they want to learn more about you, Troy, and your work, how can they do that and connect with you?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that opportunity to share this, Mark. You can go to my website. It's phil413fitness.com. That's PHIL413fitness.com. And I have a free ebook on there. I think that's a good place to start. You can check that out. It's 5 guiding principles to make your temple stronger, to serve him longer. That's going to give you some really good information to start to go on this journey. And then I also have a podcast. It's called the Divine Wellness Academy podcast. You can find that on iTunes. And we have topics about physical health, spiritual health, mental health. And it's all about how you can take better care of your body so you can take better care of your spirit. So go to my website, listen to my podcast, and shoot me an email anytime. I'd love to talk to you and really help you on this journey of better physical and spiritual health.
Troy, this has been absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time and joining me on the program today, and I wish you continued success for you and your clients on your mission.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. I can't thank you enough for allowing me the opportunity to share my passion and really make an impact in this world about faith and fitness.
That wraps up another episode of our Health, Nutrition, and Fitness Special Edition. If you know a remarkable expert, business, person, place, or thing that we should feature on the show, drop me a line on my email, radioguest@markimperial.com. That's radioguest@markimperial.com. Until next time, I'm Mark Imperial. Take care and make it a remarkable week.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.